And dear viewers and listeners of IDEA Radio and Television, this is Global Think Tank of IDEA. This is الهیارکنگرلو, and welcome to the Iran on the Hotline of the Revolution, an English program with our guest today, Dr. Hushman, and we will talk about the serious danger of looting our bloody and heavy price revolution. We all saw how during the last 2 months, all tortures, violation of human rights, killings, discrimination, and everything that this government during the last 43 years with the plus 1400 years old support of political Islam brought to the people of Iran came in the form of the modern, dynamic, and history-making revolution. A revolution that, according to Michael Hart, analyst and American professor, even its motto means woman, life, freedom, is even it's far superior than the slogan of French revolution means freedom, equality, and brotherhood, which saying liberté, égalité, fraternité. But what is important in the issue of multiplying courage and seeking justice in various ways all over the world from the heart of such a revolution, he actually put it, woman and life in the mathematical equation. It is equal to the freedom, which means life plus woman equal to freedom. I put it in a very nice way. But the question is, Dr. Hushman, what is happening in Iran? Is it a demonstration or revolution? Your view.
Hello there, and thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here and talk with the people of the world directly. First of all, I would like to say that all the media in the internationally, they are talking about demonstrations in Iran, and demonstrations has a definition. So in my point of view, this is no longer a demonstration, because we can see the workers in different sectors like Bushehr, like Asaluye, they started striking and they are not working anymore. So strikes and demonstrations, they are two elements that are joining each other, and when they join each other, it forms a revolution. This is undoubtedly a revolution. And we can hear that people in the streets of Iran, in the streets in different cities, they are shouting, and they do not want anymore this Islamic theological tyranny, and they want them to go, actually. And this is one of the main aspects that they talk about. Reformists, fundamentalists, this is the end. You need to go.
All right. This revolution, and Dr. Hushman, we know that is a mature revolution with clear national goals. It is patriotic. It comes from the hearts of the people, which is definitely different with the so-called revolution that we all seen in 1979. And obviously, it has different core in its birth. And in the continuation of the story, it's very interesting. On the other hand, I can say all of us should be very careful, since this is the fruit of the political maturity and the nationalism and love for a homeland suffered from the imposed deviations. Because there are many group, organizations and governments that have benefits in the wake of Iran. Now it's going to next question, which I would like to ask and formulate it in this way. Some mercenary of Islamic Republic participate in different national and international newsroom and try to whitewash the regime or reduce people's demands. Why do you think they benefit from this situation and remaining IR in power even with another name?
This is actually something that these reformists, they are following up. As happened in 1979, as Shah of Iran also mentioned, was a coalition between the left views and the Islamist views. They have so much in common, though their side would say the Islamists, they support a religion. However, they are in a coalition with the communists and socialists. And the reason is that they both do not believe in nationality and nationalism. Nationalism, for the first time, it occurred when Napoleon Bonaparte has conquered France, and then he was thinking, now that we do not have church, we do not have the local powers to unify their people, what element can actually unify the people? And that was the moment that nationality came to existence. So being a national person, being a patriot, supporting a nationality, it is not something bad. However, as we know, these globalists, these West views, communists and Islamists, they do not stand when people talk about their nationalities. And it's not something negative. It's not pan, like we say, it's not pan Farsism, pan Turkism. No, it's something that gives a definition to the people, to a nation, to stand for their values. These reformists that nowadays they live in London, in Washington, in Los Angeles, and they are all over the news. And as you know, all the international newsrooms, they are, we can say, they are somehow managed and presided over by globalists. They are wishing and they are willing to change and reduce what people are fighting for. Actually, the people in Iran are no longer fighting for hijab. This is what they are saying. They are saying the death of Mahsa Amini gave rise to this demonstration. Yes, maybe at the first day it was the death of Mahsa Amini, but now it's not the death of Mahsa Amini anymore. Now it is not about hijab. Now it is not about economic problem. Each person in the street has a private individual problem, and the main thing, what they have in common altogether, all these Iranian people, they have this in common. They do not want Islamic Republic, and they do not want mullahs to preside over their countries and transfer their wealth to terroristic groups, Hezbollah, Hashd al-Shaabi, Fatimiyun, and so on and so forth. So they do not wish to have those kind of supports to terrorism. However, on the other hand, we have those who receive funds from these Islamic Republic mercenaries and IRGC, Islamic Republic Guardians Corps, and they pay them to whitewash and to reduce. So it's basically talking, it's that they are thinking about their own benefits and not the people, not their country's benefits.
Thank you, Dr. Baheshti. I wanted to go to this section that one of the most fundamental events of the last few days, not only for Iranian, but also in the view of the people and governments of the whole world, was the demonstration of nearly 100,000 people in Berlin, which occurred in a Saturday, 22nd October 2002. And actually it was stunning. Now, while even people in the most remote parts of Africa even know that this is the revolution, and it is first demand is overthrowing of Islamic Republic regime. But people like Robert Malley or Niox and some other are trying to reduce people's demands, these historic demands, to not to wearing just hijab or to small goals. My question from you is, there is a matter such as national flag integrity, historical backgrounds, and etc., which they are trying to ignore. Should them be ignored at all under the name of the unity? Who benefits from this kind of ignorance? I should add one more thing, and we see in the demonstration, I know they're going to attack me because of this question, or this amendment to this question. Why we haven't heard anything from the name of like a Neda, Sattar Beheshti, Navid Afkari, and then we know that almost 3 or 4 weeks after in Aban happened the Ukrainian flight that has been shut down. Then Mahsa and 180 more and more after Mahsa, and so many. We didn't hear in a stage from them. Thank you.
Well, it was interesting. As I was following up this demonstration in Berlin, I noticed that they did not, they hesitated, at least what I've seen, they hesitated to show the real national flag. And this is the problem, because ever since the Islamic Republic has came, they have talked that this flag that you can see behind me, actually the lion and sun, this is our national flag, and it does not represent any idea at all. But they are talking about this, and they are saying that this flag is just for those who support monarchy or royal families. No, this is something like a national heritage for us. And I believe that right now, those who were participating 1979, and then now they claim that their revolution was stolen by Khomeini. Right now they are trying to gain the power, and they do not pay attention to this, that the communist beliefs right now is like a bankrupt idea, and it is a broken idea. It would not work anymore. It cannot govern no longer, no matter what. Let's have a look at the Sweden today. The Sweden today is the result of those left-wing activities, and is going to be a worst place. So they are fighting against it. So yeah, they are trying. Actually, I saw these flags, the fake flags of Mujahideen, the fake flags of those who support separations of parts of Iran. And historically, we should discuss this, because as long as history lived, as long as we can study history, the powers such as the Great Britain, the United States, Russia, France, and other countries, they did not wish Iran to have integrity, and they take advantage of these kind of separations between the people. Luckily, what we see today is happening inside Iran is that people coalited together. They do not care about them, and they do not care about this person believes in communism, that person is in support of constitutionalism. They only right now fight for one reason and for one goal, which is freedom. And the day after that, they can decide which type of government they would want. However, these mercenaries, they are trying to say, as I've heard, one of them said, if the other parties who were not in this demonstration, if they think that they can do such a thing, let them do that. But this is not the case, because yes, in the Berlin demonstration, there were people from different ideas. However, they tried to censor, they tried to ignore the presence of those who support constitutionalism, those who support monarchy, those who support other beliefs other than what they believe in. And they did not allow them to come and talk. This is what we need to pay attention to. This is what we need to discuss. Islamic Republic funds NAYAK and other groups such as NAYAK, and they have a common goal with left wing. So they do not want people. They do not want people of Iran experience this kind of freedom by questioning values such as nationalism, such as national integrity, such as all the things that I believe they are positive points.
Okay, I would like to get back to a few other issues and sort of re-emphasize it. There are some people who is for themselves and their family, nothing bad would happen. There would be no problem for another 100 years with the dictatorship system of Islamic Republic of Iran. And for sure, they would continue to go and come to the religious utopia they built with the complete peace while they had no objection. People who say the name of the Neda and Sattar, etc., but in all the years between killing Neda and Sattar until death of their loved one, they were silent. Of course, we all mourn for their loved one. And of course, each one of us is important. But we must be aware of someone who might be seen on the moon again. We must be aware of the re-establishment of dictatorship. And now my question is, how do you evaluate the danger that this revolution or movement being confiscated by more groups? What is the solution to avoid it? Thank you.
Well, actually, I don't believe that this time they can confiscate this movement or revolution, because the people in Iran right now, they are more wise than 1979. In 1979, they had no idea about what is going to happen and why are they in the streets. They just heard some words from Khomeini, who sat in France and talked, but they had no idea what can come as an interchange to that that kind of government that we used to have and at that time. So what I believe is that right now people in Iran, they are more wise, they are more informed of what is going to happen, and they know what to say. If we go to the streets, and then we can hear that they are calling, for example, Reza Shah, rest in peace, or we we did the revolution, we made a mistake. So all these things that are censored in international and national televisions, all these indicate one thing, and that one thing is actually this, that people now know what they want, and they know who is with them and who is against them. Let's just have a look at the social media. In social media, you can see that there are lots of people talking about some issues like federalism, like the right to study in mother tongue, but we can see that the people of Iran today, they know that all these things are lie, and they know that they are politically aware during these past 43 years, and now they know that a religion utopia does not work for them. Even though I must say that as one of the greatest authors of Iran, Ahmad Kasravi, mentioned, ever since Safavid emperor began, we owed a government to mullahs in order to prove that Islam and mullahs, they cannot rule and govern, and they cannot make a good place to live. And now we can see that thanks to this 1979 revolution, people in Iran, the majority of people in Iran, I can say, the majority of people in Iran right now converted from Islam to atheism or Christianity.
Okay, apparently we have some technical difficulty. I go to the next question, but before that I would like to explain some other subject matter. Okay, finally, the clear fact that the system of Islamic Republic of Iran is at the end of the slope of death lies constant lies to all of us. And everyone, every more moment of its life will be concluded only in more killing and looting consequences, while it will make it harder for its survivor. Now, with coming to the children, young people, old people, and teenagers, students, and etc., to the street, besides the strike of the workers and teachers and others with the different jobs, which makes the street red every day. Little by little, the great power of governments of the world, despite their inner desire, giving up the milk cow of the Islamic Republic, and they will force to support the Iranian revolution. But here is my next question. Dr. Houshmand, what can be done to achieve success sooner and minimize the number of problems, but inside and outside Iran? And does the international society have any responsibility of this regard? Thank you.
Almost 22 years ago, I was talking, when people were talking about civil disagreement and things like that, I said, these Islamists, these mullahs who took over our country, they did not come with the words love, so that we ask them to leave Iran with love. When they talk with the language of bullets and blood. They talk about their prophet's grandson being killed, and they call it the victory of blood to the blade of sword. So these people, they are actually benefiting from death. They are benefiting from blood. And experience has showed also that they did not hesitate to shed blood. We have Rex Cinema as an example. We have Jaleh Square as an example, where they asked Yasser Arafat from Palestine to come to Tehran, and they put snipers on the buildings around that square in Tehran, and they killed lots of people. Cinema Rex was another example. When they set fire on a cinema and they burned people lively. What makes us to think that maybe reformist, maybe a civil disagreement can conclude, can lead us to freedom? No, it cannot. And these people, the only thing they understand is the language of bullet, the language of sword and blood. So what we can do, people in Iran, they should not be scared. And they know that their enemy is fully armed, and they fight against them with stones, with empty hands. The first thing I believe the people out of Iran needs to do, especially international organizations such as UNHCR or other UN countries, they need to convict. Not just saying we are worried. They need to convict. They need to cut all the diplomatic strings between their countries and the Islamic Republic on the first hand. And then take the issue to the International Criminal Court, which requires that the UN Security Council wishes to do this. And I think this is possible. Also, we as Iranians in exile, we need to be in the streets. We need to talk with our authorities, local authorities, and ask them to hear the voice of Iran. We are the voice of people in Iran. And anyone who says, this has nothing to do with Islam, this has nothing to do with oil, this has nothing to do this has nothing to do, no, they are lying. Actually, this revolution is against at least one thing, and that one thing is Islam and the supreme leader and the governing. This is the Renaissance. This is the end of the Middle Ages in Iran. And if this happens, consequently, the world would become a more safer place for everybody. Because the terrorists in Lebanon, in Syria, in Palestine, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, they will lose a source that feeds them. We have seen repeatedly that Hassan Nasrallah appreciates the Islamic Republic and the supreme leader because he believes that they are paying for them. So yes, by taking over, by throwing out mullahs from Iran, the world would become a better place, for sure.
Okay, Dr. Hushman, these days there are many side discussion for the future and the day after Iran's freedom. Things that may cause important differences while being simple. Issues that should not destroy the precious integrity of the people. Here is my question, which carefully I would like to pronounce it. We hear about some issues such as federalization, the right of study the mother tongue, and the right of self-determination. What do they mean in the international concept? Are they applicable to Iran? I would like to hear from you.
Yes. Actually, these people, they tried for more than 100 years. It was 1828, if I'm not wrong, when England supported and pushed Qajar king at that time to separate Afghanistan and Herat from Iran. And also we have those two contracts also in 1800s that they separated Azerbaijan and other places from Iran. So this actually is not something that's happening right now. And when Reza Shah the Great got the power, he had to fight with Sheikh Khaz'al, who was founded by Saudi Arabia, by mainly Britain, in order to separate the southern parts of Iran, as well as we have Pishavari in Tabriz. We had lots of other separationists like Mirza Kuchek Jangali in Gilan and Mazandaran, and he had formed a republic, the Communistic Republic of Southern Soviet Union. So this is not something new. The federalism is the key word for the separationists, and this is actually what they want to start with. They want to say it's going to be the federalism, and then through federalism, they are going to say Iran is formed by different countries. The federalism cannot work with Iran. If we look at federations around the world, like Switzerland, like Germany, like the United States, they were independent countries, independent states that joined together in order to gain the power. However, Iran has always been Iran. And we are not formed. Yes, admittedly, we are formed from different races, from different tribes, but we are not formed from different states. So this cannot happen in Iran, and this is not a good model to rule in Iran. On the other hand, if we accept and approve federalism, then we come to this point that they believe there is this right to self-determination. However, if we look at the international documents, the right to self-determination is for the countries which are under colonialism. And when we talk about that, it's about Portugal, Great Britain, France, Spain. They presided over other countries, and it cannot be applicable to Iran. Another thing that we suffer from is the wrong translation of the international documents. In none of the international documents, it talks about the right to study in the mother tongue. They talk about the right to study the mother tongue, which are two different terms. We can, of course, admit that this is the right of different races and different people in Iran, if they are Kurd, if they are Arab, if they are Azeri, if they are Gilaki. This is their right to study their mother tongue beside Farsi, which is the official language. However, if we want to say they need to study in their mother tongue, then again, problems would rise. The reason is that there are some parts like Urmia, it's a state which is mixed with Azeris and Kurds. So which language should they study in? Should they study in Kurdish or should they study in Azeri? Also, right now, even though they study as a compulsory, they study Farsi for 12 years in schools, they cannot communicate easily in Farsi. And just think, if one day a trader from Baluchistan wants to sign a contract with someone in Tabriz or in Urumia, what will happen? Should they have a translator with them? And if they want to go to the court, who needs to listen to this case? So these are the lies that the mercenaries of Islamic Republic, unfortunately, IRGC supports the separationists because they take this benefit anytime people come to the streets and ask for their righteous rights. They immediately they come and say they are separationists, and they just go against people, and it ends. But this time I believe, no, they cannot do that. This is not going to happen. And at least I can say in our programs in Persian, you and I, we have talked at least in 5 or 6 different programs in Persian with our people that these are wrong and they are giving false information.
All right. Our dear viewers and listeners of this English program of Idea Radio and Television, thank you for your support and company and sharing these productions as much as possible to help us on the path of wisdom and freedom. For the women, life, freedom. Long live Iran.